Good afternoon, everyone. We are sorry for the delay. Looks like there was issue with the connectivity. However, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining today's Connect L&D webinar. My name is Nizam from Spring People, and Spring People is India's largest enterprise training provider. As a part of our Connect L&D webinar series, we are glad to have today Ms. Deepa Krishna, who's Associate Director for L&D Mindtree. Today, Deepa will give us insights on top 3 game-changing skills for L&D professionals. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type in your queries in the questions box, and at the end of the session, Ms. Deepa will answer them. Also, I request all of you to share your feedback after the session, which will help us to maintain the quality of our upcoming webinar. Now, without any further ado, I welcome Ms. Deepa to kindly take over the session.
A very good afternoon to everybody who's on the call. First of all, extremely sorry. These technical glitches are so unpredictable. When it was done yesterday, it was all perfect, but really can't help it now. I'll try my best to convey my thoughts on, as much as possible, through this arrangement of speaking on the phone. So if you have any questions, I'll take it through Nizam. Quickly, I want to start this session with a clear emphasis on, L&D professionals are a very niche kind of professionals, so it is a very niche area. The domain that we operate is very niche, and it is not that everybody can do L&D. L&D needs a certain flair, and today with changing times, I think L&D is turning out to be a very critical function in most of the technology organizations, and the non-technical organizations, also the other industries as well. But the way L&D professionals have always ventured into this space is either they have got into this space because they have gathered some amount of experience and play certain leadership roles, and they feel that they have a certain perspective and experience to now guide and teach people. That is one segment that gets into L&D. Then there is another segment that gets into L&D because it's an opportunity they got, and they explore it. Then another segment which carefully plans out the L&D career charter. Okay, with all these segments, and this is a kind of outside market. L&D market is also reaching a saturation point because how you would find talent acquisition partners on every street. Today you have many people, many players in this space. And earlier, technology also gave that edge over others. If you had a content hosting platform, then you had an edge over others. And then if you understood how to build systems, how to build platforms, then it again added a value. But even that is kind of becoming too many in the market. So you find a lot of players getting into this space because this is the in thing, the booming business. And why has it become a booming business today? It is because today technology is changing at a very fast pace, and we are really in a true sense getting into the VUCA world, so everything is very uncertain, very complex, very ambiguous, and very volatile, so to survive in this VUCA world, you need to keep upgrading skills. One needs to keep upgrading skills. And that's why this will never become an outdated profession or something that will be of any less value in the organization. But where we need to change gears as L&D professionals is the way we work with the organization and the senior leadership. Actually, I think somewhere we have all L&D professionals have got into a zone where we get a certain requirement, we assess the requirement, learning need, and then we kind of either look at whether it can be done by us, or we will look out for a learning partner outside in the market and then get it done. So it's more of tapping into the work, content, platforms and systems that people outside the organizations are building, leveraging those systems, and then bringing it, getting into a partnership with them, and then getting things done. That's been typically the approach. But now that we are a key player, because with technology changing, skills need to be upgraded at a faster rate. I think if someone has to become, for example, if I have to tell you, someone has to become a data scientist today, I think that person has to spend at least 2 hours of learning, 2 learning hours every day. The upgrading skills happens every day, and that's the kind of pressure people work with. And it's not like you learned something a decade ago and it is still serving the purpose. It's also about unlearning a lot of things, because you have to shed the baggages quickly. One has to shed the baggages quickly and then keep upgrading and moving forward. And that's what gives the momentum. It is like a propeller. If a rocket has to move up, you have to keep shedding what do you call it? I don't know the word that gets shed, so it kind of propels you up, so giving up the baggages is very important for an individual to move forward today. And that's the reason why even in the senior strategy meets, people are talking about skilling as a key issue. Now, when I say skilling, it's not only technology skilling, leadership skilling, ability to work with clients really well, or ability to become improve your sales targets, become a better salesperson. Everything is about skill building today. So if a technical guy is working on building technical skills, a salesperson has to bring business to the organization, business to the table, right? So he has to hone his sales skills and change the game. So from that angle, skilling has become extremely key, and that's the reason why we are not mere coordinators or collaborators of bringing learning partners and getting something done for the organization. There's a certain strategy, thought process that goes into how I can partner with the senior leadership in making things happen. When I say making things happen, maybe the organization wants the sales numbers to go up, the number of client accounts you win, that to go up. And, maybe the organization wants staffing to be better than before, utilization to be almost close to 85 to 90%. All this will be the key priorities of the organization. And somewhere the age-old traditional methods will not work for us. Nizam, I'm just going to stop here for a minute. Is it all working fine? To the slide, I have, as the name of the session suggests, that, it is, 3 game-changing skills for a L&D professional. So, if someone had asked this question to an L&D professional maybe 5 years ago, that person would have said facilitation skills is the top game-changing skill for me. Working on content is the top skill and all that. But today, somehow, with disruption happening across all around us, even the learning industry is sort of getting disrupted in many ways, okay, thanks to technology again. So I would say the first top skill that an L&D professional in the changing scenario needs to pick or work on is systems thinking ability, or design thinking, or systems thinking, whatever you want to call it. It is about having robust systems that will help you in your L&D analytics. Okay, so if the organization says that, I want to do a stakeholder management program for all my mid managers and deepen my engagement levels with the customer. Okay, this is a strategic goal. What the organization wants to do is it wants repeat customers, it wants better customer satisfaction rates for itself. So then you need to think of how systems would provide this data for you. So integration of systems. So for example, from the time a person gets hired to when he gets tapped, to what kind of skill is he getting trained on, what is the skill gap, and then are these people who are skilled are getting into projects, how is it impacting utilization, is it impacting attrition? So let's say you skill people and there is not enough project to allocate them, the kind of project that they would like to work on is not there at all. So then people might decide to move on, so it impacts attrition. So there's a whole lot of data that you can put together to tell the organization that this is how I did cross-skilling, this is how I did upskilling, and this is the kind of skill gaps I found in the organization. And through my skilling initiatives, I have filled these gaps, and it is impacting the CSAT surveys, or it is impacting the utilization, it is impacting the revenue in such a way. So that holistic thinking will only come when you have an integrated system or a robust system that can give you an end-to-end view. Unless until someone has the capacity to think technology, this kind of an integration is not possible at all. I think so. The first top skill is systems thinking and a flair for technology. Somewhere we need to understand how what does a cloud lab mean, or how does it work? How can I leverage an IoT or an AR VR? So multiple things. How can these systems be integrated? What is an API? So I think that flair for technology is something that we need to be developing as L&D professionals. Again, I'm going to stop here for pause here, just to check if I'm doing fine. Integrate, staffing to skilling to utilization, that clear view, and also that flair for thinking that this integration is possible on what technology, that kind of thinking is needed. Okay, typically what we do is we think this is someone else's job, but the vision is ours. Yes, you will have technology teams that can develop these kind of platforms for us, systems for us, but then that vision to integrate systems, the vision to communicate that vision on what is this integrated system going to do and how is it going to help me showcase my data effectively to the organization, to showcase the impact that I'm creating on the organization. That is the point I'm focusing on. So your understanding of technology to some extent is very important. That's the key skill in the changing times. And my second skill that I'm saying in the changing times that you cannot shy away from is the data part of it. Whether you say, we are all content people, we love to work on content, we read books, we love to conduct sessions, facilitate sessions and all that. We are also very focused on certain domain that we work on. Understanding of data, reading patterns in data, interpreting data also is a key skill today. Because if you are not on top of data, you will not be able to showcase some of these impacts that you want to create. So for example, utilization and revenue itself, it's a very difficult measure, and today organizations are asking it, for it. The organizations are saying, I'm spending a considerable amount of money on L&D, and why? What is the impact that you guys are creating? So that then somewhere we need to be able to crack this point on how it is our skilling initiatives. Our trainings are impacting the utilization and the revenue at the end of the day. So some amount of upgrading ourselves on analytics, that is the second key skill. So these are, I feel personally that these are the really game changing, because this is pushing us out of our comfort zone. Because somewhere we always had, we thought, if it is analytics, maybe I'll tie up with a person who is an expert in it. But you can always bring a person who is an expert on board. But if you don't have a vision on what is that you want to measure, and how do you want to present it to the larger audience on the impact that you have created, you will not be able to even work with a data analytics person. You need to have an understanding of data and how patterns need to be read, and have a vision on how it should be presented. Now, my third skill, where I feel somewhere we are all touching redundancy and we were proud of it, is the content management itself. Now, why am I saying it's, I'm using the word redundancy, and yet I'm saying, it is a very game-changing skill? Because content management today, if you see, everywhere there is content. If you, there is Coursera courses, Simply Learn, Edureka, Udemy, LinkedIn, you name it, there are platforms that is hosting loads of content, and on top of it, you have YouTube. Okay, and YouTube and Google, which, like, of course, you search on the for content, and you're thrown with articles, journals. You have HBR articles that you can access. So there's loads and loads of content, but what will I do? Make sense of it. I need to make sense of that content. And where, I come into picture as an L&D professional is, not everybody has the time to go through loads and loads of content, So somewhere, the need for curating content, that is to pick the right stuff and give it to you. So I'll give you an example of this. If you go to a shop where you are given 100 choices of bread, and you have to pick something that you like out of those 100 choices, I'm sure you will end up picking something which is not nice at all, because the options given laid out in front of you is so humongous, it will confuse your brain. But if I tell you as an expert, I come in and say, you know what, out of these 100 bread options that I have, the best thing I would recommend is these 10 flavors. And the reason I recommend these 10 flavors is because the consumption is very high. If people can, pick it more often, or the taste that is, it carries is a very unique taste. So I bring my expertise and I give you the top 10 flavors, and that makes the life of the buyer so easy that he will have to just pick something really good out of those 10 flavors. And exactly the same analogy, same thought process here. If I have so much content in front of me, how great it will be to have an expert who will actually tell me that, don't go through all this content. Some of it is really useless and it is very repetitive. I would suggest these are the top 3 speakers that you should listen to. These are the top 3 articles you should read, and journals that you should refer to. That way, if we are bringing in our expertise in recommending the right content for people, curating the right content for people, that will be an added value as a learning professional. So that's why I say content management will become more inward driven. That is, organizations will like to post their content with high context. For example, in Mindtree, the organization that I work with, we always feel when we bring an external partner in to do a program, the context is missing, so we do put a lot of effort to bring in our own experiences and stories into the content and co-create content with the external learning partner. Okay, so as an L&D professional working in an organization, to dabble with content, to make sense of content, to manage relevant content, that will be the key. Otherwise, we will be going all over the place and people will not make sense of what is being given to them. They may do hundreds of courses, but really, if you ask them what are the top 5 learnings that you have had, they may not have an answer because it was not crisp enough. It was not packaged really well, put together well. So I think content management, I'm coming from the angle that, your ability to curate content, your ability to bring context to the content, context of your organization to the content is something that will make you stand out as stand out in your work. So 3 things definitely: systems thinking, how to integrate systems for representation of the right kind of data to get the right kind of data, representation of data itself, analyzing data, and then lastly the content management piece. So so these are the 3 game-changing skills that I think we should work on. All are going to push us out of our comfort zone, the current zone that we are all operating with. So again, Nizam, you let me know. We can take a pause and take questions and then move on to the next slide. So I think the first step is to begin with the standard for L&D I'm talking about. You can go deep into analytics space, but from an L&D standpoint, the starting point, the first training is to do a course on the Kirkpatrick model, which talks about calculating ROI. So I think that's the first step, because they consider a lot of elements in that program. It's a very deep, experiential workshop they do. There are many organizations that do this workshop. One is called Green Books or something. They're primarily into training people on learning analytics, and the basic course is on this using Kirkpatrick model, calculating the ROI. There actually typically what we are comfortable is in the first 2 layers of the Kirkpatrick model, the emotions, the feelings part of it, how did the program go? It went really well, it changed my life kind of a feeling, but then after that, when people go back to the workplaces, today I think we do some post-workshop assignments and some projects would be done. That is also getting a little outdated nowadays, because people are picking projects that are very easy to implement, so that again should be very hardcore projects. So that way, the 4th and the 5th step of the Kirkpatrick model, where you're really getting in terms of money, the calculating in terms of money, revenue terms, that most of us don't get into at all, and this would be the basic course to start with. I think there's an organization called Green Books that does this session on calculating ROI. That would be the starting point.
So the next question is how to create a learning organization, or how to transform an organization to learning organization, by Sagar.
How to transform an organization into learning organization. Today, I think that transformation will happen naturally. We don't have to really put extra efforts, because the VUCA world is pushing people to just pull up their socks and skill themselves. There's no other choice. There's no other option. You have to be relevant in the market. You have to keep upgrading yourself, and this holds good for even an L&D professional. We can't be just saying that okay, fine, I have 10 years of experience, so I'll operate in the old world model. It won't. So my point here is one, the environment is driving the need for upgrading skills. So people will be pushed to it. We don't have to put extra effort, but to create a learning organization, I think the learning should become a culture in the organization. So senior leadership strategically should be leaning towards building a learning culture. Now, when I say learning culture, it need not be only courses or doing training programs. In general, learning culture, which includes coaching, mentoring, shadowing people, giving opportunities for younger talent to come and work with senior leaders in critical projects. That is also a learning culture, because I think 60% people learn on the job, 60 to 70%. Whatever we do is just that last 25-30% bit, but real learning happens on the job. So learning organizations, first of all, strategically, they should find learning important and as part of culture building activity of the organization. It should be part of the strategy to build learning culture. And then, apart from recommending programs and courses and Coursera courses and all that, you have to work on opportunities like working on critical projects, shadowing, mentoring by senior leaders, coaching opportunities. That has to be created. And you should also promote, another important thing is, you should also promote people to be part of this learning culture initiative. And what I mean by that is, there could be a lot of senior talent who love to teach people, who love to facilitate, and they also have that perspective and experience with them. So you should incentivize them or tell them to, come and do sessions. That adds a lot of value to the program, because they bring the context and experience. And by incentivizing, you're also telling them that we are serious about utilizing your knowledge, utilizing your experience. So you have to make a lot of people participate in your learning initiatives. So that way a learning culture gets built and a learning organization gets built. This is my take on it.
Very well. So the next query is from Siva. Yeah, today we use Excel for our data analysis. Do we have any other tool in specific to analyze our training data?
Power BI is another tool that you can explore. It's getting extensively, it is replacing Excel extensively. So Power BI, as far as my knowledge goes, would be one tool that a lot of organizations can explore.
So we have one more question from Ranjit Matthew. He asks, what are the key points to be kept in mind while developing the content?
Key points while developing the content in the sea of ocean of content that we are all swimming in today. First, get the context right. Why are you designing a program? Why is this person? Who is the audience? It's simple. Who is the audience? Why am I, designing this content? And then I think ability to curate content in such a way that it is just right for the audience. I'll give you an analogy here again. Like, let's say you're hosting a party for a group of kids, very little kids. And then how do you go about organizing that party? You actually think about what goes well with the children. You think from the children's, the angle of little children, and you kind of make it very vibrant, colorful, and even the food you organize will be something that is palatable, suited to kids more, right? It's similar to that, if you're curating content for, let's say, campus minds, then what is that campus, the campus recruit is, should learn. So in that, again, you will have multiple layers. So there will be some high performing, really good campus recruits. Then there will be some average in the middle. Then there will be some laggards who need a lot of push and the hand holding. So based on that, based on the audience, you start looking at content, and most importantly, when you're curating content, today, you should always look at the applicability of it. Otherwise, I can read a book written by Salman Rushdie, and I can read a book written by this guy Chetan Bhagat. Both are two different flavors. And the way I can understand a Chetan Bhagat is much more easier than a Salman Rushdie. So then you really need to get into, what is the complexity of, knowledge that I can deliver to this particular audience, given their IQ levels and their experience and background. Based on that, you have to see the curate the content, and also are they going to be able to apply it. Okay, so for example, I'll take a simple example. If you are doing a training program for managers, okay, so we teach them coaching, we teach them how to give feedback, all that is taught. But then if you're not giving them the right simple frameworks or tips to give feedback, and also give them opportunities to go back and apply it, the content might be very rich and nice. They may feel wowed by your content around feedback, but they will not know how to go back and really apply it in their work context. So when curating content, you have to always keep the applicability part also in mind. Otherwise, it will be like, yeah, wow, I read a Salman Rushdie book. It was great, but I don't know, I really don't understand it so well, so simplifying it and then applicability of the content are some things that I would suggest you should keep in mind before you start curating content.
So we have another question by Ms. Surbhi here. She asks, what certifications an L&D professional should look for to get future ready?
Okay, honestly, I'm not a big promoter of certifications that way. There are many certification programs. There's something called Certified Learning Manager Program given by Middle Earth. That's a very popular certification program. Then there is C2C, an organization called C2C that offers facilitation program on, certification program on facilitation skills, purely on facilitation skills. Then there's an organization called Navgati that does a lot of work around facilitation skills, coaching. So you can pick, any of these certification programs and keep upgrading yourselves. But what I would rather suggest is, while you do the certification programs, it gives you that confidence. I would rather suggest keep your eyes and ears open for what is happening in your market, what is happening in the environment, what are the senior guys talking about, how are these senior guys operating, what is important for them. That sensing ability is what I would suggest. And I have seen a lot of people who do a lot of certifications, but when you ask them to understand the ground reality and come up with a solution, solve a problem, they struggle. So my suggestion is, while you do some of these certification programs that I suggested, I would request you to be more attentive to what your senior folks are telling. What are they talking about the organization, what is important for them, and then do your research, keep reading, keep researching on internet, HBR articles, keep reading HBR articles. You also pick up some Coursera courses. There are plenty of Coursera courses that you could be doing at a very nominal pricing. So I think if you keep just doing these things, you will slowly build your knowledge repository. Yeah.
We have one question by Abhijit Das as a big query. He asked, I have somehow felt the burden to navigate to content serving my interests from a warehouse of content, even though packaged in modular and bit-sized pieces. Given this ecosystem, I would desire a system where I can extract content of my interest to impact productivity on a demand basis, package it in any format and stores. Does the L&D practice consider this as a value offering?
Okay, a very lengthy question indeed, but I will rephrase it. Tell me if I've got it wrong. I've got it right. Sorry, got it right. So, I understand it as, is there a way I can um, pull the right content out in this maze of content and then offer it to people that makes sense? Is that is that the question meaning actually, Nizam?
We are waiting the response from Abhijit. Okay, I think we can answer this question maybe perhaps through mail or through message. Yeah. So moving on, there is one.
No, we can answer that question if the understanding is correct, because I think he wants to know how there's a lot of content. How do I pull that
yes,
right
we have
content?
it. We have it. I think Abhijit is respond. He says it's a registered on demand documentation, and yes, you're right, Deepa. I think he has got your question.
So that's why I said that's the third game-changing skill, right? That will be the game-changing skill, because as L&D professionals, we should be sharp enough to curate the right content, and that right content will, as I told you in my when I was responding to the previous question, it depends on how much I understand the organization that I'm catering to, people I'm catering to, and multiple things, my understanding of the environment and all that. But then if you want me to think a little loud and say, tomorrow can we have a bot curating this content for us? Maybe yes. There may be someone who will come up with a bot which will skim through multiple content and throw something relevant to you based on the criteria that you input, and you can just probably review that content. It might already be happening. There may be certain bots which are doing some things like that, but this could happen in future. There could be some bot which will do the initial curation for you, skim through a lot of content on the net, and today if you actually see Google, based on certain parameters, it throws the top links only, right? When you search for something, only the top few websites where the visits are high, people are looking at it more often, it picks the top few websites and gives you the information. So similarly, I think there could be something like that happening in future, which will skim through loads of content and say this is the best one for you, and we may need it also.
Right. Hope that have answered your question. Okay, due to the time constraint, we are running out of time. There is one more question I think we can take. Can we, Ms. Deepa?
Yeah.
Right. So very quickly, we have one question. Let me take it's. Let's pick Siva's. Siva here asks, which is the best platform in the market for LMS which promotes blended learning?
Best platform. I may not be the right person to comment on the platforms available outside. Okay, if I understand the question, platforms like Coursera, or I have extensively used Coursera, so I can comment on it. That kind of gives it that project called capstone projects, where they try to bring in peer evaluation in the course, and the exercises, the projects that they give you post the course. That kind of gives you a very blended learning feeling of blended learning. But otherwise, I am not familiar of any such aware of blended learning platforms. Here, blended learning is some of these sites, websites offer projects, and there are peers who can review your projects and give you scores on that. That's the kind of approach that they are bringing. So I would suggest, some of these Udemy and Coursera are the best ones for the blended kind of learning. There are some organizations that are using simulation-based learning, also online simulation-based learning, which kind of creates an experiential learning for the learner. So the learner goes to the platform and plays a game, and there is a facilitator who will debrief after the game. So there's a video that plays out on how that game needs to be interpreted and scores need to be interpreted. So there are experiments like this happening, but if the blended understanding is that a facilitator will come and do a session for you, if there is a platform like that I doubt there is anything like that. It's mostly videos, video of a facilitator or peers, putting scores for you on the projects, peers, evaluation of peers. Those kind of things are happening, but not blended learning in the real sense. Earlier, the definition of blended learning was, I offer an e-learning course as a precursor, and then a facilitator would come and do a classroom session. If that is the definition of blended learning, I don't think there's any platform that offers that. But if the definition of blended learning is, are we bringing peers into the picture? Are we bringing certain experts into the picture? Are we bringing experiential learning into the picture? Then I would say, Coursera, Udemy. Then there is another organization that specializes in simulation-based learning, called Knowledgescape. These people are doing their best in making the learning more interesting.
Right. So we will take the last question by Prabhakar. He asks, any option to traditional LMS platform, like many companies are moving app-based learning? So he asked for any options for the traditional LMS platform.
And again, I think from we at Mindtree, we have developed everything internally. We have never gone out and scouted for a platform and bought it. Everything was conceptualized by us. We conceptualized it. We worked with the technology team and got it. And the advantage is that we actually we believe it is so important to be in tune with technology in these days that we have a technical team as part of our learning team. Okay, so a lot of platform related, thought process is done with this team itself. The thinking part of, what kind of platform should we build, how should it work, how do we measure impact through the platform, all that is done internally in the organization that I work for. And I'm also familiar with the technology that is used to build that platform. But otherwise, I've never scouted out and seen what is the best platform that can be utilized for measuring learning impact. That I think I may not be the right, I can do my research and get back to you, but at this point of time, I'll not be able to answer that.
Right, that was the last question for today.
Okay.
I really thank you, Ms. Deepa, for the insightful session, and I thank you all for joining today's in the webinar.
I wish it was on the webinar in the true sense, because if this technical, it would have gone, I would have interacted with them directly, but I hope it helped, Nizam.
Yes, it did.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Deepa.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Thanks. Bye-bye. Bye.
Hi all, I thank you everyone for joining today's L&D webinar. We extremely apologize for the technical issues. However, through our commitment, we made sure that the L&D webinar should go on. So I hope whatever the interaction you had was very insightful and helpful for you guys. Keeping in that mind, I would really appreciate if you guys to kindly share your valuable feedback, which will help us to maintain the quality of the upcoming webinars in the future. Thank you all. And also you can find the recording of this webinar on a website soon, very shortly. Thank you and good evening.